Did you know the modern world is robbing you of your focus? Being able to focus is critical if you want to complete any sort of task. No matter what kind of goals you set for yourself, you'll need focus if you want to go through with them. But who wants to focus on the mundane tasks when there's so much going on around us? And who can blame you when you're bombarded with notifications and clips every second of every day? If you struggle to get things done because you keep jumping between tabs and apps, it's because you're overstimulated. And if you don't do something about it, it'll only get much worse. Hey Alexers, today we're talking about how overstimulation keeps you from realizing your potential, how companies take advantage of this, and what you can do to fix that. And stick around until the end of the video to learn a sobering fact about the effects of overstimulation. Let's go. Welcome to Alux. A life of stimuli. Stop us if you've heard this one before. You wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is grab your phone. Before you're even fully awake, your hand is reaching for that electronic rectangle that keeps you entertained. You scroll through your notifications, check out your new posts on Instagram, and just sit there on your bed for minutes, even hours for some people. There's always a video or a picture or a funny meme to look at. Because you need your fix. You need that rush that comes with seeing something new or fun. But the more you do that, the harder it is to get that feeling. That's because we're addicted to stimulation, and we're not exaggerating that here. Let us explain how this works. While from a social perspective, humanity has evolved enormously, our brains actually haven't changed all that much, and that's part of the problem. You see, our brains produce a neurotransmitter chemical called dopamine, and you've probably heard of this before, right? It's what the brain releases to tell you that something is good for you, and it's part of our reward system. It's like a motivator intended to help us focus and link up to our ability to feel pleasure. Think of that rush you get when you find a $20 bill in an old coat, or when you're talking to someone you like. That's dopamine. It's also released when we interact with others, even virtually. That's why social media comments and likes can feel so rewarding. Our brains are hitting us with a rush of dopamine. In the past, dopamine had a vital function for our survival. It kept us focused when looking for food and gave us a boost when we achieved our goals. It also helped to promote our community-building efforts. But there is so much triggering our brain pleasure centers these days. News, social media, life events, our brains can't keep up with all the stimulation. In the past, we had to hunt for our food, but now there's junk food everywhere giving you a similar feeling. The world was more closed off before, so meeting new and different people was always a unique experience. But with social media, you always have millions sharing with you. And this wheel never stops. We can't even watch movies without checking our phones. So what happens when we get too much of it? Well, like any drug or chemical, we build up a resistance, a tolerance. Our modern world has made us addicts to stimulation, always looking for our next fix. And each fix is less powerful and harder to get. That's why it's so hard to do tasks that we don't find immediately entertaining. It doesn't matter if it's something that's important for your life, relationships, or career. If it's not giving you that hit right away, you'll get distracted by anything else that does. And it's not that we don't consider these things important or even that we don't want to do them. Deep down, we know what matters and what doesn't, but it's hard to fight what's basically an addiction. It has nothing to do with being lazy. When you have so many things vying for your attention and you're chasing that rush, you start to become apathetic or even depressed. It's only natural. And in this day and age, everything is trying to get your attention. Recovering from addiction is hard, but doing it locked in a room that constantly gives you more and more of your drug? That's the definition of a Sisyphean task. Even worse, today's companies have taken wind of how our attention spans and reward centers work, and they've been using that against us. In essence, they've become our dopamine dealers. The fight for your attention. The way our brains work has a lot to do with our current overstimulation problem, but it wouldn't be fair or accurate to put all the blame on ourselves. The truth is that companies realized a long time ago the best way to get us to consume their products was by finding ways to get our attention. Not only that, but making it so our brains associated using their products with euphoria. However, this practice really exploded in the last few decades with the advent of the internet and smartphones. Before, you might get your fix from eating junk food, watching a TV show, or going shopping, but you couldn't do any of those things all of the time, nor did you have access to them 24/7. But now you do. Smartphones and the internet opened up the floodgates for companies to fight for your attention every second of the day. And as the fight gets tougher, they get more and more aggressive. Mark Zuckerberg has built an empire around stimulating our brains and making our brains constantly fight more for that digital fix. We're not exaggerating here, okay? Social media apps like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and many others have been designed for this very purpose. Sean Parker, former president of Facebook and creator of Napster, has talked at length about how Facebook was created with this idea of social feedback loops. That's how they keep you coming back and why it's so hard to focus on other things. Because our normal activities and goals are not designed entirely around rewarding the pleasure centers of our brains, but these apps, yeah, they are. And it's not even just social media anymore. The news uses titles designed to cause alarm and draw attention, and shopping websites use colors and games to maximize your engagement. There's even a company called Dopamine Labs that's looking to find ways to make any app as addictive as Facebook or Instagram. We're overstimulated because there's a war for our attention, and we're losing it. There's engineers, psychologists, and neuroscientists devoting to cracking the code. It's become so bad that we no longer get our fix from watching videos or reading comments. Now we watch other people react to videos or read comments. It's like some kind of secondhand dopamine rush. As we continue to evolve around this new world of overstimulation, things will only get worse. Our attention spans will become even smaller and we'll have a harder time focusing on the things that we want. But what can we do when all the cards seem like they're stacked against us? Overcoming the barrage. Now, at this point in the video, you might be feeling a little overwhelmed yourself. When there's entire systems designed around getting your attention and stimulating you, how can you get past that? But we wouldn't have made this video just to present a problem, right? We're here to give you some solutions. And there are things you can do to fight all of the overstimulation in your life. Number 1, take steps to disconnect from social media. A large part of what robs us of our attention and our focus is social media. So your first step regaining your power over your life is controlling your social media usage. Trying to quit cold turkey will probably be too much for anyone. As we said, this constant overstimulation has kind of made us addicts. So instead, work your way back slowly. Start by turning off notifications. These little blips are sometimes the most distracting things that can occur. Even if a notification only pops up for a few seconds, that's enough to break your focus, and regaining your focus once you're distracted can be incredibly hard. It's better to set a specific period of time during the day to check your emails or social media, maybe during lunch or at the end of your day. This will do wonders for your concentration, and you'll slowly be able to get away from social media more and more. Maybe even cut out some networks that you don't really need. Number 2, be careful with multitasking. On the surface, multitasking sounds great, but the truth is, a lot of people suck at it. And if you can't focus properly on one task, how the hell are you going to deal with multiple things at the same time? You might be better off channeling your focus into one task at a time. Remember that you're trying to improve your ability to focus on things, and trying to do multiple tasks simultaneously is not going to help with that. Be honest with yourself. Am I really good at multitasking, or am I just fumbling through a group of things at once? Self-reflection and honesty will help you big time moving forward. Number 3, rest. Your ability to focus is tied to how much energy you have. As you get more and more tired, you'll find it harder and harder to stay focused on one task, and that phone will become super tempting. You need to take a step back from your busy life and find spaces for relaxation, but ones that don't involve looking at your phone all the time. Sleep is great, and exercise can be an awesome way for your brain to have a chance to relax. And of course, you could always meditate. You know how much we love meditation. Number 4, establish a routine. An excellent way to boost your ability to focus is by creating a daily routine. When we have a routine, we don't need to think too much about every activity in it. Deciding things requires a lot of brain power, so by repeating the same patterns, we free our brain to focus on other things. If you already have a plan laid out for your day, you'll waste less time on distractions. And number 5, reward your victories, even the small ones. Why is it so hard to focus on the things we need to do as opposed to all the other stuff going on around us? Because our tasks don't feel quite as good. So, a good way to change this is by finding ways to reward yourself for completing your tasks. And not just the big wins, even the smallest of activities can be rewarded. It can be something as simple as having a snack or taking a short break. Just be careful not to overdo it. So, wrapping all of this up, our ability to focus is essential to life. We need focus to perform our daily tasks, jobs, and achieve the things that we want. But as you've seen, focusing is getting harder and harder every day. The world became a mess of screens and flashing lights using every trick to get our attention. But knowledge is power, and understanding how this issue came to be will be the key to helping you overcome it. If you're feeling like you can't focus, try to step back from social media. Create routines to help you build your focus, reward yourself for accomplishing tasks, and get some exercise and rest. Your future self will thank you for it. And of course, for sticking with us until the end, you know we're holding on to a bonus for you. It's a fact that our attention spans have gotten shorter since the 21st century began. But a sobering detail is that we now have a shorter span than a goldfish. Time magazine reported a study run by Microsoft Corp that found that our average attention span diminished from 12 to 8 seconds between the years 2000 and 2015. And what's the average attention span of a goldfish? 9 seconds. Yikes! Goldfish aren't exactly known for their concentration skills now, are they?